Deputy Speaker, I rise to speak in support of the motion moved by the member for Braddon. Penalty rates play an important part in sustaining not just those who are in insecure work, the low-paid workers in hospitality and in retail, but also in a climate of low wages growth. Penalty rates play a part in sustaining communities, particularly those communities where underemployment is an increasing problem. It was often said during the mining boom that Australia suffered from a two-speed economy. Now commentators are forced to confront the fact that there is rising inequality within the Australian community, particularly when considering the ability of some within our community to engage with and participate in paid work. There are those who are fortunate enough to be in secured work. They are well paid, for whom penalty rates are irrelevant. These are the people who benefit from tax cuts delivered by this government, whilst low-paid workers are threatened with cuts to their wages. While some, like the Treasurer and certain newspaper commentators, place in issue whether there is rising inequality, there appears to be a consensus that there is a significant portion of the Australian workforce which is facing a reduction in their standards of living, whether from insecure work, reduction in hours of work, unemployment, underemployment, or whilst fully employed, met with the rising cost of living, not keeping pace with wages growth. I've spoken in the House recently about the importance of higher education delivering not just high-paid jobs for graduates, but also the effect on the economy which adds employment as a result of additional graduates taking up employment. The evidence suggests that increased educational attainment of itself not only improves the economic prospects of graduates, but also other workers within the economy. The problem is, nevertheless, that regional Australia, in particular northern Tasmania, has lower educational attainment, less graduates and lower productivity, and higher unemployment and underemployment. With investment in the University of Tasmania Transformation Project, the aim is to transform that outlook over the next 10 years or more. In the meantime, our focus needs to be on jobs and wages growth, which is at historically low levels. The problem of low wages growth is that this is a constraint upon growth, particularly growth in consumer demand. The often made assumption is that as a consequence of reduction in penalty rates, there will be additional employment, which will facilitate the transfer of unemployed to the rank of the employed. This assumption is not supported by evidence. It is equally likely, indeed probable, that a rational employer will simply require an existing workforce to work additional hours. In other words, the employer takes the benefits of a reduction in costs, and the employee either works additional hours in order to sustain their income, or in the alternative, the worker receives a reduction in income as a consequence of the reduction of the Sunday rate. The financial consequences for regional communities are identified in the member's motion. Lower consumption affects all within the small communities that I serve, from the supermarket to the cafe. Discretionary expenditure is minimised, businesses subsist instead of thriving. Low-paid workers tend to expend most of their income on consumption, with little put aside for investment or saving. This presents an immediate issue with respect to demand for services in small communities, particularly if there is a large workforce with reduced income. I've previously addressed the House about the secondary effects within regional communities in northern Tasmania arising from the failure of Gunns Limited. In particular, the loss of jobs within a retail and service industries, which followed some months after the loss of contracting, harvesting and transport jobs within the timber industry. This ultimately sees communities hollowed out as the effect of job losses cascades through a community. One of my first tasks as an endorsed candidate was to attend a forum which was addressed by retail workers. They explained the importance of penalty rates to their weekly or fortnightly budget. I have no doubt that these personal stories accurately describe the extent to which real families struggle to make ends meet. These stories emphasise the extent to which that penalty rates on a Sunday, sometimes on a fortnightly roster, mean that a child can attend the movies, participate in sport or a school excursion. These activities are only possible, I'm told time and time again, through that income received from those hours worked on a Sunday. Many university students have confirmed to me that their studies were only made possible by the fact that penalty rates earned on a Sunday provided them with the income so as to devote time to study as well as supporting themselves. I commend the motion to the House.